Buhari appeals to ASU to call off ongoing industrial action. Residents in Cross River State react to consensus arrangements by political parties. Plus, Cross River State Governor Ben Ayade approved the removal of the paramount ruler of Efut, Itam Hogan. Details shortly. Good evening and welcome to NTA Calabar News at 7. I am Ode Alenyo, and now the news in detail. The new lexicon making waves in Nigerian political parties, especially in the two major parties, is consensus. Despite the proliferation of the presidential and governorship aspirants in the country, and the APC narrowing down to one candidate through consensus in Cross River State, the political atmosphere is taking a new dimension. Paul Ebel speaks with some political stalwarts and commentators on the significance of consensus on internal party democracy.
The 2022 Electoral Act provides that political parties can either use indirect, direct, or consensus to elect its candidate for any position in the general elections. In spite of the high cost of nomination and expression of interest forms by some political parties, the number picking up the forms are more than what the party leadership bargained for. Therefore, the APC and PDP in Cross River State are towing the same direction as one person is selected out of 17 in the APC through consensus with all aspirants in agreement.
Prevent people feeling trampled upon, to prevent people feeling disenfranchised. It's democracy. Everybody must embrace democracy and enjoy the dividends of democracy.
Consensus is not an adverse word in the political lexicon of any nation, any community, as it were. And where good judgment prevails, one should be able to cede the position of the first amongst equals to somebody that we believe will be able to represent all the aspirants, their vision.
Consensus has provided us with an avenue to determine a candidate that can emerge and then can still cover the aspiration of all the people.
The best option of picking out the candidates in anything we do, where people sit down together and decide to talk, and at the end of the day, all of them comes to agreement that it should be this other person that has to go.
With the many aspirants, is consensus better than allowing them test their minds and popularity in the field?
Going to the field is not bad, but you know that at the end, the moment we say let's go to the field, there's going to be bound to manipulation. A lot of things is going to come to play, where people are going to be, a lot of violence are going to be introduced.
Every person now has agreed that all what we need to do is not selfish interest anymore. We've now come up now with an idea that one person should go in, and that one person will stand in for every other person, representing every other of the APC member, which will help the democracy in Nigeria.
But if everybody wants to go to the field for primaries, I think they want to test their capacity and their strengths. But the best is consensus. Let all of them come together and pick one person to less their stress.
Most of us would have wanted to say we don't want consensus because we think we should make money. But I'm telling you, it's one of the best ways to cut out rancor, internal party issues.
So in a situation where you have about 15 to 20 people aspiring for one position, it is possible for the party to sit and x-ray all the candidates and then to come out with the best.
The big question is, will the consensus candidate deliver at the general elections? Only time will tell. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
More reactions have continued to trail the declaration of Senator Bassey Ededotu as the APC consensus governorship candidate for the 2023 election in Cross River State. Achibon Bassey reports that the women under the aegis of Cross River State Women, led by Senator Florence Itagiwa, converged on the Millennium Park to thank the state governor Ben Ayade for keeping to his campaign promises of returning power to the Southern Central District of Cross River State.
These women who are drawn from all walks of life, are gathered here to celebrate Governor Ben Ayade for redeeming his pledge to the Southern Senatorial District in ensuring power returns to the South.
During his campaign, he kept saying that power must return to the South. Yes. But clap your hands. You understand? Because they keep trampling on us in the name of numerical strength, in the name of financial strength. Let that power come and let us show. Because our brothers must come and work with us the way we have been working with them. Cross River State has always worked like one. Yes. One family. Yes. We have always supported each other. Yes. No senatorial district can win without the other one. Yes.
The convener of the rally, Senator Florence Itagiwa, applauds the process which led to the selection of Senator Basio II as the consensus governorship candidate for the APC, describing it as free, fair, and transparent.
He followed the consensus regime and he tried his best to see that he brought the power to the South.
And what she's saying is that may God bless Governor Ayade, that before widows were always almost beggars, but today they look good, they eat well. Governor Ayade looks after the widows.
And he said he's bringing it back to South, and he brought it back to South, and we socketed it to the center.
Throwing his weight behind the women, High Chief Adam Duke urges the women to mobilize all members of their families ahead of the 2023 general elections to ensure Senator Basio II is voted as the next governor of Cross River State.
Very many, very important, very capable persons came out. They are all very good. But because only one person can be governor, they all agreed, except one or two, that Prince Otu is good enough to represent them.
In Calabar, Achibombasi, NTA News.
The paramount ruler of Efut, Itam Hogan, has been relieved of his office following the report of the panel set by the Cross River State Traditional Rulers Council. A statement signed by the Special Advisor to the State Governor on Chieftaincy Affairs, Dr. Victor, indicates that the removal of Itam Hogan as village and clan head of Ukem and paramount ruler of Efut, as contained in the panel report, was approved by the State Governor Ben Ayade. The statement directs Itam Hogan to surrender his certificate of recognition to the Department of Chieftaincy Affairs Governor's Office with immediate effect. Consequently, the statement adds that Itam Hogan is therefore ceased to be recognized and cannot operate in that capacity forthwith. Political office holders affected by President Buhari's directive for the resignation of those seeking elective positions include heads and members of extraministerial departments, agencies and parastatals of governments, ambassadors, as well as other political appointees. This report is here presented from our studio.
Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, stated this in a circular to the head of the Civil Service of the Federation, as well as heads of parastatals and agencies across the three arms of government. The SGF said President Buhari has observed and noted the expression of interest and intention by some members of the Federal Executive Council, heads of extra-ministerial departments, agencies, parastatals of governments, ambassadors, and other political office holders to contest the upcoming presidential, gubernatorial, national, and state assemblies elections. Consequently, the President has directed that the affected office holders aspiring to run for various offices in the 2023 general elections should tender their resignation on or before Monday, the 16th of May 2022. The circular clarified that, for the avoidance of doubt, this directive affects all ministers, heads and members of extra-ministerial departments, agencies and parastatals of government, ambassadors, as well as other political appointees who desire to contest for elective offices. The SGF emphasized that for the smooth running of the machinery of government and Nigerians' foreign missions, affected ministers are to hand over to the ministers of state where they exist or to the permanent secretary. Where there is no minister of state, ambassadors shall hand over to their deputy heads of mission or the most senior foreign service officer in line with established practices. Similarly, heads of extra-ministerial departments, agencies and parastatals are to hand over to the most senior director or officer as may be peculiar to their organization, in line with an existing service-wide circular of 4th December 2017.
You are watching news reaching you live from the studio of NTA Calabar. You can watch this newscast on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/NTA Calabar. We'll go in a short break. We'll be back shortly. Don't go away. Welcome back to the rest of our reports. The People's Democratic Party has thrown its 2023 presidential election contest open to all zones. Timothy Yusuf reports that this was the major decision taken at the end of the party's 96th National Executive Council meeting in Abuja. That report will be brought to you in our subsequent bulletin. The Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja has set aside the judgment of the Federal High Court sitting in Umuahia, which voids Section 84(12) of the Electoral Act 2022. This report here again is presented from our studio.
Section 84 subsection 12 of the Electoral Act of 2022 bars political appointees from being a voting delegate or be voted for at the convention or congress of any political party for the purpose of the nomination of candidates for any election. In a judgment on Wednesday, a 3-man panel of justices headed by Justice Hamon Akawo Baka held that the Federal High Court in Umuahia had no jurisdiction to entertain the matter because the plaintiff, Nduka Edede, lacked the local standing to file it. Neither did he establish any cause of action on the suit. The Federal High Court in Umuahia voided Section 84 subsection 12 of the Electoral Act 2022. While determining the appeal on its merit, the appellate court held that the provision is unconstitutional as it violates Section 42, subsection 1A of the Constitution and denies the class of Nigerian citizens their right to participate in election. Section 42 of the Constitution protects every Nigerian from being discriminated against based on his or her ethnic group, place of origin, religious or political opinion. The judgment was on an appeal filed by the PDP.
In time past, elections and electoral processes were left in the hands of few Nigerians and relevant authorities. This was not only due to poor political awareness, but that many citizens may have lost confidence in the entire electoral process. Clement Barikwi reports that things have changed now, as Nigerians, including residents of Uyo, are conscious more than ever before and are intensifying preparations for the elections. This report will be brought to you in our subsequent bulletin. INEC is working out details on the implementation of electronic transmission and collation of election results as empowered in Section 60 of the 2022 Electoral Act. To this end, the Commission is getting contributions from media chiefs at a consultative meeting in Abuja. Mie Ogidi reports.
A meeting between the pen and the ballot. It is a meeting to finalize the details in the INEC guidelines ahead of the Ekiti and Osun governorship polls, as well as the 2023 elections.
There are many progressive provisions in the Electoral Act 2022 which require clear understanding to guide implementation. One of such provisions is the electronic transmission of election results.
Election results will be transmitted electronically, the INEC boss told the members of the PEN family. But even to make it more transparent, here is an assurance.
The Commission will also work with the security agencies to ensure the safety and security of journalists and their unimpeded access to all voting and collation locations during elections.
This gladdens the media chiefs, but a word for INEC and practicing journalists.
I want to appeal that you don't pander to the capricious whims of political actors. Remain resolute, remain focused. I therefore want to appeal to our colleagues. We must ensure that we report with responsibility.
Meanwhile, INEC will suspend the pre-online registration for the continuous voters registration exercise on the 30th of May. This will enable the Commission to complete the physical aspect of the exercise before the 30th of June, when the exercise will be temporarily suspended. Mie Ogede, NT News.
Members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, have been called upon to consider the plight of Nigerian students and call off their ongoing industrial action. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that President Muhammadu Buhari, who made the appeal, also urged students in Nigerian public tertiary institutions to exercise patience as government strive to address the nagging issues in the nation's university system within available resources. This was at the 19th National Productivity Day and the conferment of the National Productivity Order of Merit Award on deserving Nigerians. The Inspector General of Police, Osman Alkali Baba, has ordered the immediate designation of all Assistant Commissioners of Police in charge of criminal investigation departments across zonal and state command as National Human Rights Commission liaison officers. This was at a meeting with the Governing Council of the National Human Rights Commission at the force headquarters in Abuja. This report is here presented from our studio.
The mandate of the officers is to ensure compliance with the provisions of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act during investigations, interrogations, and gathering of evidence, and the resuscitation of human rights desks in state police commands nationwide. Chairperson of the National Human Rights Governing Council, Dr. Salamatu Suleiman, while recognizing the Nigerian Police Force as a key partner in the actualization of its mandate of promoting, protecting, and enforcing human rights, discussed the possibility of having contact persons at the various police commands for effective handling of human rights-related cases.
Nigerian economy is said to have the potential to compete favorable with other countries of the world if Nigerian youths channel their strengths and energies towards entrepreneurial skills. This is the view of experts on entrepreneurial development in Calabar who are advocating youth development through entrepreneurial skill. Leo Ajon has detailed.
Entrepreneurial development is a field that saddles its recipients with skills on how to be employable and useful to themselves and the society at large. It could also be viewed as a form of youth empowerment which is orchestrated by the prevailing unemployment of youth after higher education, as each year higher institutions churn out graduates into the labor market for jobs that are non-existent. It has, however, been observed that while many Nigerian youth are taking advantage of the many opportunities in entrepreneurial development and making a living out of it, others need further sensitization on how to choose the path of entrepreneur.
If everybody is creating jobs for themselves, if you can lead yourself, you can lead others. If you can make yourself self-sufficient in society, then you can make that sufficiency enough for others. If you can create jobs for yourself, you can create jobs for others. It means that you're a solution architect and you're solving the problems of Nigeria.
The way to go now is entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship for yourself and also to create employment for others.
People should get working, make sure that they advance in their businesses, make use of whatever knowledge and ideas that they have, and propel it to greater heights. That way, they will also employ other people and make sure that they don't stay without anything to do.
The quickest way to bring back production is to work with the small, the medium, micro, medium, small-scale industries.
What other factors can boost sustainability of independent small and medium enterprises?
I've learned about business development. I've learned about how to get government grants and how to avail yourself for different opportunities.
Beyond coming to Smidan office for guidance, maybe during our trainings, I believe that if you are actually seeking for funding, the internet is available. From time to time, just try to Google, search for available funding windows.
It's the strengths that you have, that can help you through that journey.
There are three dimensions
how to make, manage, and multiply. And trust me, till we can achieve these dimensions, we can get it right.
It is the hope of experienced entrepreneurs that more Nigerian youths will become entrepreneurs that will drive the new Nigerian economy. In Calabar, Maureen Leo Ajom, NTA News.
And that's the size of our package. Before we go, let's take a quick look at some of the stories that make the headlines. President Buhari has appealed to ASU to consider the plight of Nigerian students and call off the ongoing industrial action. Residents in Cross River State have gave nod to consensus candidates that is trending in Nigerian political parties, believing that it will reduce cost as well as disaffection among the contestants. You also heard in the news that Cross River State Governor Ben Ayade has approved the removal of the paramount ruler of a foot, Itam Hogan, following the reports of panels set by the Cross River State Traditional Rulers Council. That's it on our news tonight. From me is good night.